Hey everyone, before we get started, take a second to like and subscribe to the show.
It's the best way to help us share great information with more people. Thank you. Hi, everybody. Welcome to CareLab. We are here with a solo. Can we call it solo when it's just the two of us? An episode
I
with
think
no
so.
guests.
No
Solo
guests. Yeah.
episode, no guests.
Yeah.
So we're leaning into our occupational therapy-ness. And so today we're going to talk about 5 reasons your loved one might be falling that don't have anything to do with balance, because we almost always think it has to do with balance or weakness. And it doesn't always come to just the muscles, right? And so we got 5 different ones that we're going to go through. And the first one is vision. People don't think about it very much. And actually, you taught me this, Emilia. Like, one of the things that cause the most falls is not using your bifocals well. And because
Yes.
the switching
Yeah.
between distance and close is not always quite right for like the distance to your feet. And so that's just one of many reasons your vision could be impacting your ability to walk safely, and to essentially cause a fall. One of the biggest ones I like to talk about is contrast sensitivity. So as
Mm-hmm.
we get older, the ability for us to dim it to, and sometimes with certain conditions, you don't see contrast as well. And so while you could be standing at the top of the stairs, and if they're carpeted and all the same brown color, if you don't notice the difference between each step, which can be really slight, if there's not like an edger on each step, then that immediately triggers your brain to be cautious and more cautious, which actually ends up increasing your fall risk because you're unsure about the depth of each step and what you're doing. And so that's just like one way that vision can impact your risk for falls. And so just to assume that falling is only because of like balance and we need to, increase our strength, it's really helpful to go backwards and really think about like what actually impacted the situation. When did the fall occur? I don't know about you, but I asked so many questions. When did you fall last? Oh, tell me about that. What were you
Oh,
doing? Like
I'm
all
the
the time.
most annoying. I'm the most annoying. You tell me, like, we're going to have a 20-minute conversation about it. But here's the deal. At the end of that 20-minute conversation, we're probably going to be able to dig down into exactly what the root cause of the fall was. And we're going to be able to generate a solution for it. So,
Exactly.
so next time your OT is asking you a million questions about what time was it? Where did you fall? What were you doing? What was like all of these things? Try not to get too annoyed because they're actually going to generate a workable solution for you. And a lot of times, I think this is sort of the really maybe wonderful might not be the best word to use, but like the good thing about the fact that there are all of these possible causes of falls besides just strength and balance is that many of these things are things that we can impact very quickly,
We can
right?
accommodate for them. Yeah.
We can accommodate for them. We can make an environmental change. We can make a change to, whatever that one little thing is. And all of a sudden, like magic, that fall risk is substantially lower. So,
Hmm.
I mean, as much as it can feel like overwhelming that falls and the causes of falls are so multifactorial, the fact is it actually gives us a lot of tools to intervene in ways that are really immediately effective versus only being reliant on increasing balance and increasing strength in order to prevent falls, which of course is something that we do and it is an important thing to do, but
Takes longer though.
it takes a lot longer. And if you look at the science, does not actually account for the majority of falls and fall risk. There's some really interesting research on there. Yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. In fact, do you want to know what, and this will lead us into, wait, are we done with vision? No, we have more to talk about with vision.
I mean, we could talk all day about vision, but I think the biggest thing
We
is
could.
that like you pay attention to the fact that it could be
Yeah.
your vision that's impacting the risk for falls, even if you don't have like a low vision diagnosis, particularly.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So, and I think, okay, so this is a good segue into the next of the 5 things, where we'll kind of tie vision in there too. But so There's a really great research article. I can link it in the show notes actually for people who want to check it out. It's very eye opening. It's this huge systematic review of like a gazillion studies about falls, fall risk, fall prevention, trying to identify what are the most common causes of falls, and then how can we actually, what types of interventions aff- are the best at affecting the largest number of falls. And do you want to know what intervention prevents the largest number of falls, Brandy?
I 100% do. Please tell me.
I'm going to guess you 100% know already. And that is environmental modification led by occupational therapists.
Ooh, specific to that.
Specifically.
Yes.
Specifically, yes.
So I've been saying
Let
all this, and it's actually true.
it is legit science, well documented. Yeah. So, okay. So environment. Why is the environment so important to how we to our fall risk? Well, because we are falling in the places where we live or out in the community, right? A fall is
Exactly.
is a relationship between you and the world that you are in. And so whether or not your environment is set up in a way that is accommodating to you and your skill level and your needs, both your sensory needs and your physical needs, is going to directly impact whether or not the high risk is the fall risk is higher. You can even think about it like, listen, you be walking around your house, 35 years old, perfectly healthy, no issues at all, but your kids left Legos all over the floor. You didn't see them, and now you're going down, right? Or at least it really hurts
100%.
to
You
step on
step on
Legos.
them, and then you hurt,
Yeah.
and now you're kind of, wincing in pain, bouncing on one foot, and then a fall happens. I mean, that's not, like, ridiculous, right? Like,
Nope. It
it's
is.
very
It is. It
plausible.
is. It's not only ridiculous, it makes so much sense for why environmental risk factors are some of the easiest things for us to change. Not always
Mhm,
easy, right? But a lot of times we can make small changes that will
mhm.
significantly impact our fall risk in the environment. And two, why it is such a high why it causes such a high number of falls is because very few of us have environments that are actually set up in a way that is thoughtful for preventing falls. um, but kind of tying back into that vision thing, one of the things that we can think about in our environment to help prevent falls, besides just removing clutter and tripping hazards, is lighting.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yes. Lighting is so important because this is what the lighting is doing for you. We're not saying you can't see, but what we're saying is and that you like your eyes need more light all the time. Is like a band-aid essentially for your environment. If we put some more light on the scene, then the things that are like not usual, like the Legos on the floor or the dog toys in the way or the whatever, a pillow fell off the bed and it's actually in your walking space. The things that are not normal are illuminated to you so you can avoid them, right? I think the biggest excuse or statement that people say often to me is like, well, I've lived in this house for 30 years. Like, I can go through this house with
Hmm.
my eyes closed. And I don't disagree with you. That could be true. But there are so, if somebody else lives with you, if you have a pet, if you have grandkids coming over or children running around, like, and if you just, like, happen to be more tired when you went to bed than you were before, and you did something slightly different than you normally do, that means there could be something happening in your pathway at night when you get up to go to the bathroom or wherever, that's not usual. It's usually the things that are not usual that cause the fall that are happening in the environment, and adding additional lighting can help you avoid that.
Yeah, I like your point about because I've also heard this probably 100 million times
Mhm.
over, treating however many gazillions of patients I've treated at this point, specifically for falls who are seeing me because they've had a fall. Um, you know, either, well, just saying I'm not going to fall, or I've done it this way for 30 years. I've lived in this house for 30 years, whatever it is. I know this really well. Here's the thing that has changed. Maybe your home has not changed in 30 years, but guess what has? You.
Your body.
Your
Your
body.
vision, your muscles,
Mhm.
your reaction time, your accommodation time with your eyes, how quickly you switch from like dark to light situations. All that has changed.
That's right. So the environment that worked for you 30 years ago may just not work for you anymore. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you need to get up and sell your house and move somewhere else, right? But it
Right.
does mean, how can we make thoughtful changes to the environment that work better for the person you are now? Because you probably got that house in the first place because it worked for you and your
Then
lifestyle at that point, right? There is there is nothing wrong. No, people don't like to change. No one likes to change. Myself included, right? No one likes change. But there's nothing wrong with adapting your environment to meet your needs rather than expecting yourself to constantly adapt to your environment. Who's
totally.
your house working for? Who's it working
It's
for?
supposed
It's
to work
working
for
for you,
you. Yeah. So
not
make
the
it
other
work
way
for you.
around. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. That's such a good point. Okay, we should try one more maybe.
We should try
Um,
one more, and then I think this is gonna be a two-parter. I think you'll have to tune in for the next
you're
episode
gonna have to
to get
wait a couple days for the next
the
ones.
last
Yep,
couple.
that's right.
Mhm,
Okay. I think one of the other top reasons, so we've had two so far, vision and environment,
mhm.
is dual tasking. So
Ooh.
doing more than one thing at a time. Because what is like literally your brain can't do more than one thing at a time. Okay. So when you are doing more than one thing, you're doing both of them kind of badly. And I
Wait,
am,
hold on. But wait, Brandy, what about multitasking? Don't we all multitask?
we
She
all
says.
do, but we don't do, but your brain's not. You think you are doing it. And I am speaking to myself because I am a great offender of this. You think you are doing two things at one time, but you're just doing two things and splitting them up. This is what your brain is basically doing, right? It's
It's
like I'm doing
task
this.
switching. So what we call
It's
multitasking is actually attention switching and task switching, right? We just do it
in a
really
short
fast.
amount of time. Yes.
Mhm.
Exactly. And you really wouldn't like encourage a student to learn that way, would you? You wouldn't be like, we're going to talk about math and reading right now. Like, here's your paper for math and here's your paper for reading. Like, you don't do that. You have time for reading, then you have time for math, like when you're trying to learn something new, right? It makes sense because your brain needs to focus on one thing. So, even though our lives seem to require us to do this, we're not very good at it. And so, what we just talked about before, which is yes, maybe you were able to carry the laundry basket up the stairs and holler at your kids 20 years ago and not have any problem getting up and down the stairs. But things have changed. Maybe those stairs didn't change, but you have changed. And so the ability to like hold this basket with two hands and step up the stairs and not use the railing and then also be like avoiding the cat as it's coming down is actually a very like multi-step process that then your brain has to try to accommodate for and doesn't always do it as quickly as it used to, which leaves a gap for challenges to happen. And so I literally had a client one time tell I was like asking all the 20 questions about the fall, right? And she was like, I was just like going up the stairs and my son, he's in his 20s, was home and I was hobbling up the stairs to him and then I fell. And I was like, yeah, like your attention switched off of you paying actually kind of a lot of attention to your balance as you carried that basket up the stairs to yelling for him to do something or whatever. And it distracted you. And then your body wasn't able to like manage that. And like you slipped and fell. And a lot of that's happening in the background. Like you're not consciously aware of how hard your brain is working at that moment, but it was, and it impacted you.
Yeah, I actually think the example of like walking and talking at the same time is a great example of dual tasking s- because when we're having a conversation with someone else, we are mostly paying attention to that conversation. But guess what
Mm,
we're not doing? We're, of course, to your point, we're not paying as much attention to our brain maybe doesn't have the same amount of focus dedicated to subconsciously picking our feet up or, moving in a certain way. But guess what it's also not doing? We're not necessarily visually scanning it as much, right? So we're not looking around for obstacles in our environment or changes in our environment. Um, we're not attending to the things around us as much. Instead, we're attending to that conversation because an important thing to do. So, if you are someone who is having more trouble with balance, who is maybe feeling a little bit more unsteady, trying to maintain focus on that single task of getting from one place to another versus trying to accomplish all of the same things that you would have done before at the same time, um, is it's an important consideration to have. I think also what I want to say here, because I'm sure there's someone who's listening who's like, well, you guys are saying y'all talking about these things and you're saying that this has nothing to do with, balance and weakness. Which is not what we're saying.
Yeah.
Balance and weakness are important. We do want to address those things, right?
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
what we're saying is that it's not the only piece of the puzzle. And when we address these other pieces of the puzzle, we can have more immediate impact on fall risk, like almost instantaneous sometime, to make people safer. And holistically, the overall fall risk is going to go significantly down if we're considering these things um, alongside making sure that someone is getting the other intervention that they might need for balance or strength in addition.
Exactly. Um, we've got 2 more really good ones coming up,
We sure do.
but we're gonna leave you here, and you're gonna have to listen to the next episode, to get that content. So make sure you subscribe so that you can know when the next episode comes out, and you can get these other 2 things that don't have to do particularly with balance or strength that cause falls. All right,
And
we'll see
listen,
y'all
if
next
you were,
time.
yeah, we'll see you all next time. All right. Bye.